The sky temples of the Andes, high above the clouds, where the air grew thin and the mountains pierced the very heavens, Arin Cade stood at the edge of an ancient stone path. Below him stretched the vast, unending expanse of the Andes Mountains, a breathtaking tapestry of peaks and valleys, all layered in mist and ancient mystery. Above, condors circled silently, their massive wings catching the high-altitude currents. They weren't just birds. They were sentinels, guardians of something sacred and long forgotten. Local legends, whispered for generations in the valleys far below, spoke of the sky temples. They were said to be forgotten sanctuaries, built by a civilization that believed the sky itself was alive, a conscious entity. These temples, according to the stories, were miraculous structures that balanced the fundamental forces of nature, the wind, the weather, and even time itself. They were the silent protectors of the world below, shielding the valleys from the fury of violent storms and unseen calamities. But these were just legends, stories told to children around a fire. No one had seen the temples in centuries. They had faded into myth, into the realm of the impossible. Until now. Following a trail that seemed to have been waiting just for him, Arin began his ascent. He followed stone markers, weathered by ages of wind and sun, carved with elegant symbols of wings and spirals. With every step upward, the air grew colder and the wind stronger, whispering secrets through narrow mountain passes and along treacherous cliffside trails. It was a language only the mountains understood, but Arin listened intently, feeling the pull of his destination. Then, in a moment that felt suspended in time, the thick, swirling clouds parted before him, and there they were. Floating impossibly above a sheer, dizzying drop was a massive stone platform, held aloft by forces he couldn't see or comprehend. Great pillars rose from it like the fingers of a giant reaching for the sky. Bridges of solid stone stretched between the peaks, hovering in midair as if gravity were merely a suggestion. The sky temples were real. The legends were true. With a deep breath that barely filled his lungs in the thin air, Arin stepped carefully onto the first bridge. It swayed gently under his weight, a subtle, living movement, but it held firm, responding to his steady, respectful pace. He was walking on a pathway built by gods or ghosts, a bridge to a forgotten world. The first structure he reached was the Temple of Winds. It stood open to the sky, its walls intricately carved with swirling patterns that seemed to capture the very essence of the wind. As Arin stepped inside, these patterns began to glow with a faint, ethereal light, and powerful gusts surged from every direction. The wind wasn't just passing through. It was alive, testing him, threatening to push him from his feet and send him plummeting into the abyss below. At the center of the chamber, he saw several massive stone pillars, each rotating slowly on an unseen axis. He quickly realized this wasn't a place of brute force. The temple was a puzzle, one that responded to movement and balance. Instead of fighting the ferocious wind, he leaned into it, letting it guide him. He adjusted his steps, moving with the flow of the air, not against it. As he carefully aligned the rotating pillars with the currents, the gusts softened, their fury abating. A new path forward revealed itself, and the wind calmed, as if it were pleased with his understanding. Beyond the temple lay the most dangerous crossing yet, a narrow, fragile-looking stone bridge that disappeared into a thick bank of impenetrable clouds. Arin began to cross, his heart pounding in his chest. Halfway across, the stone beneath his feet simply vanished. He was standing on nothing, suspended over a terrifying drop, with the path gone. He froze, his mind racing. But then he remembered the old Andean legends, the stories of faith and spirit. He closed his eyes, took a deep, calming breath, and took a step forward into the empty air. The bridge instantly reformed beneath his boot. He understood. It was not sight that guided the way across this chasm. It was trust. With calm, deliberate steps and steady breathing, Arin crossed the remainder of the bridge, emerging on the far side, just as the clouds slowly parted behind him, revealing the complete path he had just walked by faith alone. He had now reached the very heart of the Sky Temples, a massive circular platform that served as the final destination. As Arin approached its center, the very air and stone around him began to twist and coalesce. Wind, rock, and light spiraled together, forming a towering, majestic figure, the guardian of the sky. Its voice was not a sound but a feeling, an echo like thunder carried on a gentle breeze, resonating deep within Arin's soul. "Why do you walk where the sky touches the earth?" it asked, its form shimmering with ancient power. Arin did not shrink. He stood tall, his resolve firm. "I came to understand," he replied, his own voice clear and steady. "To protect what keeps the world in balance." The guardian lifted its arms, and the air around Arin filled with visions terrible, chaotic scenes of violent storms ravaging the land, landslides wiping out entire villages, and valleys flooded by raging waters. They were warnings, glimpses of the future that would unfold if the delicate balance of the Sky Temples was ever disturbed or their power misused. "Power must never belong to one," the guardian's voice boomed. Arin looked at the visions, understanding the profound truth in the guardian's words. He nodded in solemn agreement. "And let it belong to the world," he said, "kept safe and untouched." A sense of understanding passed between them. The great guardian slowly dissolved, its form unraveling back into wind, light, and stone, leaving behind a single glowing disk on the central altar. It was etched with the same sky symbols Arin had seen on the markers, pulsing with a quiet, immense energy. As Arin reached for the disk, a violent tremor shook the very foundations of the temple. The winds returned, now howling with destructive force, tearing through the platforms. Cracks spread like lightning across the ancient stone bridges. He instantly realized the truth. The disk wasn't a prize to be taken. It was the heart, the anchor. Taking it would sever the connection, unleashing the chaos he had just been shown. Without a moment's hesitation, Arin placed the disk back into the platform center. Instantly, the shaking stopped. The winds stabilized, returning to a gentle, harmonious flow. The temples themselves began to glow with a soft, steady light, anchoring themselves once more between the earth and the sky. Balance was restored. As the sun began to set, painting the clouds in spectacular shades of gold and crimson, the Sky Temples started to fade. The bridges, the pillars, the platforms, all of it slowly dissolved back into the mist, hidden once again by legend and the protective veil of the sky. From a distant ridge, safely back on solid ground, Arin watched as the mountains returned to their silent, imposing majesty. That night, by the light of a small, crackling fire, he opened his journal and wrote a single line. "The greatest strength is knowing when not to take." Above him, the stars shone with a brilliance he had never seen before, as if the sky itself was thanking him. As dawn broke over the Andes, Arin shouldered his pack. His journey here was complete. He turned and followed a new trail, one that led down from the heavens and into the valleys below. Another legend was stirring somewhere in the world. Another mystery was waiting to be uncovered. Another journey awaited. And Arin Cade would be there to answer the call. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. If you love stories of mystery and exploration, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next journey. Until then, keep exploring.